All right, guys, let's connect. Today is February 1st, 2026, which is crazy to say that we made it out of the craziness of January. January always takes forever, in my opinion. It's one of those things where you just had the holidays. We got 31 days of a month, but we're into February. Now we got the Super Bowl. The Olympics actually start on next weekend, so the opening ceremony is on Friday, and other shows, movies, everything. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments in the chat and below if you're watching it on the replay. But hopefully you're staying warm. I am One Eye Bri, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about this cold weather, man. It's crazy. I live in Tampa, Florida. Well, just outside Tampa, Florida, and we got some snow flurries. And I was not staying up to see any snow flurries. I am from New Jersey. I've seen plenty of snow. I've shoveled plenty of snow and dealt with plenty of snow, winter, ice, all that stuff. So let me know where you guys are from in the chat and the temperatures. Right now it is like 6 degrees here in Tampa. What is the temperature today where you are at right now currently as you're watching this stream? What's up, Big Tree? How we doing? Good afternoon to you and yours. We have the Winter Classic is being played today at Raymond James. That is the outdoor hockey event that is by the NHL. And it's the Tampa Bay Lightning play the Boston Bruins tonight. I am not going to the game, but I will probably be watching some of the game and online because it looks pretty awesome. I think Tim McGraw is playing the first intermission, which is a nice little concert. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts, what you're watching, what you're excited for, what's going on. So I'm not going to give away my theory and some information that I've been checking out because if you don't know what From is a great show, and I definitely want you to check it out on MGM Plus, or I don't even know where else you could watch it, but I know that's what the show is from. But it is definitely worth watching. And so I have a theory about, well, right now the information that's going around and some stuff that I saw online that was pretty cool about just some questions and theories that I have. And you know how I'm here about symbolism and color. And there is definitely a color connection that I've noticed from a lot of the photos of not this upcoming season, but throughout the first 3 seasons. So we'll have to see how many seasons it's going to be for From. But I'm making a video as we speak. Well, not now as we speak. We're doing a live stream, but I started it, and I'm excited to share with you guys the theory of From on there too. It's kind of a color theory. But so Big Tree's got Massachusetts 19 degrees. Sim's got 20 degrees. So if it's cold, I think it's going to be like 30-some degrees in Miami, which is crazy. Wind chill like in the 20s. And that's crazy. If it's cold all the way in Miami, it's cold everywhere. I saw a video of North Carolina. They got like 2 feet of snow. And that's probably one of those states that like the world shuts down when you get snow. Like, I'm from New Jersey, so there's a budget for the roads, salt, brining the roads, taking care of the ice, taking care of the snow. Like New York City was like picking up the snow and melting it and putting it in the sewer system to flush it away. So places don't have that budget, and it's understandable. You got to have somewhat of a budget because cars piling up on highways. Well, first of all, don't be driving if you don't have to. It's just not worth it on there as well. So Sim says 10 below yesterday in the morning. 10 below. That's crazy. I'm assuming you don't leave at 10 below weather. My dad lives in southern New Jersey still, and he I check his temperature, and it's, I took a screenshot of the weather this morning. At 8:52 this morning, it was 13 degrees, and it feels like -4. Which is terrible. Like, that's just crazy out there too. So the good thing is that hopefully they still have power. If you're on this stream, if you're watching it, you probably have power. I know some places in Tennessee still don't have power and whatever, and that's the craziness of it, and that's where I feel for people, because when you don't have power, you don't have heat, and you don't have heat, you can't have climate control. It turns into a danger, and I think like 100 people have died in the United States because of this weather system, is what they were saying online, and it's crazy to think that, some people don't take it seriously. Some people don't have, the ability to do that. But you got to be able to have survival skills and survival abilities on there too. And I guess if it's time to go, it's time to go for people. But ultimately, weather is something that's preventable to a degree. Your house, your structure, your home, your condo, your apartment, whatever it is, it's definitely something that you got to take seriously. You got to bundle up. You got to stay warm. You got to stay hydrated. You got to, keep yourself alive. Sim says when he was young, he worked in 20 below wind chills. Yeah, that just sounds terrible. And you got to do what you got to do. It's one of those things where it's definitely you got to keep it going no matter the weather on there as well. So AI not 01. A Philly woman was found dead from hypothermia. Yeah, see, like that's crazy. Like I guess if the house fails or the heating fails and like space heaters and this and that and whatever, but you got to go somewhere that's reliable, or like hopefully the neighbors. I also saw another thing recently about Philadelphia, that they were cleaning out, or they were shoveling out parking spots, because like down the roads where people live, they don't have driveways. They park in front of their building. Their I guess it's like a row home type of thing. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's the houses are kind of connected, and the parking is in the road. And so there's all this snow in the road, obviously, right? And then when cars get plowed out, and then they get dug out with the ice and the snow, there's a spot that's open. And so people would do all that work, and somebody would take their spot, and someone's not going to like that at all. But there's no like assigned parking, I'm guessing. So fights were breaking out, and somebody was shoveling, and someone had a knife, and someone had a gun, and someone and someone hit the person with the gun. It was just crazy, like people were putting chairs out there and cones out there to save the spot, but that's illegal. Like it's just like something I don't miss at all. I don't miss any of those things, and I never will. I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to go back to the Northeast unless it's for taking care of my dad or my mom or somebody like that too, and for certain things. But I don't want to live there for an extended period of time. It's just not where it's at too. So hey Carol, but I just don't think it's a great place to be if that's like I still don't understand why people live in Buffalo or Minnesota or stuff like that too. And I know friends, family, it's where you are. It's tough to leave, but that's just so brutal. And I told you last year, it was exactly a year ago, I had a student from Buffalo, New York, and I always wondered, like, how do they do that? Why do they do that? What is that thing? And he's like, we're in it together. It's a community feel. There's nothing better like it. And I think that's a good part of life, is community. That's a big marker of happiness, is people, connection, and common bonds, commonality. And so that's definitely something that I like to talk about too as well. So what shows and movies are you guys watching? Myself and my wife we're finishing up The Bloodline still. I think we have like 2 or 3 episodes left. I don't know. It doesn't say yet of like when they say like 2 episodes left or 1 episode left. We're not there yet, but I think we're getting close. I think we're on like part 30. And I looked online, I think there's 33 parts. We finished up Unreal, which is about the wrestling, season 2, which is pretty cool. The Royal Rumble was yesterday, but it was on that crazy ESPN Plus app thing, unlimited thing that I'm not going to pay for that. But Liv Morgan won the women's Royal Rumble, and Roman Reigns won the men's. And what else? We got Fallout, watching that, which is still good. Walton Goggins is great. So, watching Home Improvement as like the happiness on there too. And I saw a funny thing, or I shouldn't say funny, an interesting thing on Facebook, and I follow a couple different things on Facebook, and I don't know how credible it is, but it makes sense. Like someone, I should have took a screenshot of it, but it was a blurb about the comfort shows, like the shows that we watch repeatedly, and it might be The Walking Dead, could be Seinfeld, Friends. Like, what are some of the comfort shows that you guys watch? Breaking Bad or whatever. Shows that you watched before, Sopranos or something there too. Usually probably like highly rated shows. And Home Improvement's still a great show. If you have that on Netflix, definitely check it out. If you want something to watch, like it still holds up. And there's a psychological connection with our nervous system that actually gets our body to calm down watching a comfort show. And I'm sure it's a similar response to like comfort foods or comfort things, because we know what to expect from it. And it's something that's consistent and just reliable, and we like that. We're creatures of habit. We like that. And now with all this different stuff coming at us, with all this different stimulus, is our environment and our phone and our social media and everything like that too, it's nice to have that too. So it's always nice to get back to it where you have like whatever it is, you know. But what are some of the comfort shows that you guys like to watch? Yeah, the winters have not been kind, really, to the Northeast for sure, but New Jersey for sure. You know, it's just the snow and the ice and the frigid temperatures. That's definitely something that's, you know, you got to get through it, and hopefully it gets an early spring, and hopefully we have a good weather pattern for the hurricanes again. Like last year was great. No storms hitting the continental United States, which is always good. His and Hers was good. Carol says Spartacus, House of Asher. So there's been a lot of news been going around about the God of War show. And it looks like it's going to be the God of War from PS4, PS5. So with, you know, Kratos and Atreus and Thor and I forget the head that was helping. I forget the characters' names, but it's not the Kratos from Egypt. It's not Kratos from Egypt, the Greek connection. So with the Greek gods and everything, it's the different Norse mythology, which should be great. You know, it should be great, and hopefully Ryan Hurst does a good job. And I like a lot of stuff he's in, so I think if he's cast, then we'll probably do a good job. And then also The Last of Us Season 3 is going to be the last of Us. That's the last season of The Last of Us. I don't know any other news that's really relatable that's worth talking about besides sad news is Catherine O'Hara died. And she was the mom from Home Alone, the mom from Schitt's Creek, the mom from Beetlejuice, like, you know, like the mom from a lot of iconic things. And it's crazy. And she just died. She was 71 years old, and she died like Friday, I believe, or she was at least announced on Friday. She had this medical condition that I don't know how, I forget what it was called, like C2 invitus something, I forget what it is, but I looked it up. That she had her heart and her organs were on the opposite sides of the body. Like if your heart is supposed to be on the left side, like, so the way you can tell how big your heart is and where it is you make a left-handed fist and put it just left of your sternum. That's where your heart is. But hers would be on the right side, which is crazy to think that happened, and I don't know if that made the body work harder or more inefficient or whatever, and I don't know what her cause of death was, but 71 is young, and I said this before and I'll say it again, the average life expectancy for a man in the United States before COVID was like 78. I think it came down a little bit, like 76, maybe 77, and women was 80 years old. So that's below average for either side of it, and so you don't have to, but I think you should get in the habit of living for today, working towards stuff and saving and progressing and having goals, short-term and long-term goals, but have things sooner rather than later, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed anything. So if there's something you want to do, get a game plan for it. So it's funny because I've been talking to my dad. I talk to my dad every week, and there's a couple of days where we don't talk, whatever, when we text or whatever on there as well. But my dad's retired. He's 76 years old. He'll be 77 later this year, at the end of this year. And he lives alone now because my stepmom passed away. And he's got good neighbors, and he's got, a good support system there. I just live different because he's in New Jersey and I'm in Florida. But he throws these little, like, snippets in, right? He's like, yeah, I was looking at cruises. I'm like, oh, yeah? What'd you come up with? And he's like, yeah, I was looking at different things, and he wants to get like a solo room, a room by himself. But they don't really have those. You have to pay for a double occupancy. So he's like, yep, I went on Norwegian, and a room there, that's like $3,000. So that's out. And I'm like, what? Like, you could go on a cheaper cruise. Like, you don't have to pay for $3,000, And $3,000 is a nice, big, awesome room. But you could go interior room, and you might have to go, but I was like, you got to call them up. Call up Carnival or Norwegian or Royal Caribbean, or call all three. Call all of them up and see what they say. See what the policy is for an independent solo cruiser. And it would be his room and myself and my wife's room, because we'd have different rooms. But we're trying to deal with that. So I don't know if anybody has had any experience with that at all. I'm going to have to do some more homework about it, because I want to go on a vacation with my dad. I want to go on at least one more good vacation where he can have a good experience and enjoy the time with us. And I can make sure he's okay and help him out, and he can fly down to Florida, because we got a bunch of cruise ports, and I love Port Canaveral, which is about 2.5 hours from where I live. And it's nice, it's a nice experience, and it would be nice to have to look back on it. But, I got to try to push the envelope with my dad. He's the one that has to be, like, motivated sometimes to do it. And I'm sure a lot of parents are the same way. So that was the latest thing. And he's like, yeah, I was looking at flights. And I was like, oh, yeah, where are you going? Nowhere. I just was looking at flights. And I'm like, why? I just want to see how much they cost. I'm like, why? It doesn't matter if they're good or bad deals. If they're there, you're not using them. So why even look at them on there too, So does anybody else, parents, do that? I always think it's interesting to see how people say it. But, I think he wants to be motivated to do things. And, I have to kind of push him a little bit and direct him here and there. So hopefully this year, next year, whatever, in the next coming years. But before you know it, man, gonna be, pretty soon, gonna be older. We're all getting older as we speak. For the past 17 minutes, we got 17 minutes older, which is crazy. But the big thing about it is, we're excited for the rest of this really year for different shows and movies. And there's a lot of good stuff. I don't care about Wonder Man on Disney Plus. I care about Daredevil, Born Again, and the Punisher stuff, and different shows that are coming on there. And I'm excited for different movies and options that are coming for us, because I like entertainment and I like something to watch. And The Pit, man. So I talked about it last live stream. The Pit is on HBO Max, and it is one of the best medical shows that I've seen since House. To me, House is still the best medical show that I've seen, that I've watched. I'm not a Grey's Anatomy person, or ER, or New Amsterdam, or The Young Doctor, or whatever these other medical shows are. But House was great. And The Pit is, I think we're on episode 9 of the first season. And the show so far has everything you want to watch. It has comedy. It has drama. It has, sadness. It's like the perfect medical show. It's in the emergency room, so cases are coming in and going here. You have ethical dilemmas. You have things that we would do, things you wouldn't do, problems that they have to deal with. It's just all these different things. And I know that it's something that you have to get in your mindset. And some people like medical, some people don't. So if it's not your cup of tea, that's okay. But Noah Wiley does a great job. And so does the whole cast. The whole cast is worth watching, and they bring a different type of character feel, and they all do a great job in their own way. But check out The Pit for sure. I haven't seen what's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? It's like it's got a weird title in my opinion, but it's definitely something that I want to watch. I think it's like a 2 hour long movie. It's like a newer movie that I have to definitely add to my list. See Parisi 100, 22 degrees in New Jersey. You got 8.5 inches of snow. That is crazy. When is From starting again? So I believe From, there's no exact date just yet, but I think it's April. I believe April was the date, or was the month. I mean, hopefully, if it's a March, April show, we'll because I want to see a trailer. You know, I'm excited to see the trailer for From, and you know, I definitely have. I talked about it earlier, so if you're just joining now, I have a video that I've been working on since yesterday. That I have a theory about the ending of it because we finally got some information at the end of season 3 last season about the story, about what this place kind of is, or more importantly, who these people are that are stuck in this place. We still don't know where exactly they are, but the fact that they're basically being reincarnated to keep coming back to this place, it's like a loop, a sequence that you can't get out of. They're stuck. I guess that's what it should be called. Instead of From, it should be called Stuck. Because that's what they are. And hopefully we get more and more answers, especially who the man in yellow is and what was happening at the end of the season that leads into season 4. And so it's pretty cool. I mean, I know a lot of people are thinking purgatory, that's a common thing, and there's a lot of different, ideas. But I just I'm interested to see the answers because I love different shows, We're watching, if you watch TV long enough, you're going to pick up on the same kind of shows, especially if you've been watching shows from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today, Kara asks, anyone seen The Rip on Netflix with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Steven Yeun? So I have. And also, if you've seen The Rip, you know that the actress who plays Tabitha on From is in that movie. And it's okay. The Rip is okay. I always like it when it says based on true events or based on a real story because it makes it more realistic because you're like, wow, some of this really happened. And when you start doing your background checks of stuff, you're like, man, some of the story was changed and some of it was real, and there's probably big events that are real, and some of it, is how they put it on screen because maybe it's a little different too. So Jeff Wallace asked a good question, but yeah, why purgatory? They aren't all bad at all. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to get into. Maybe it's a whole sequence that if it's a reincarnation, it could be connected with past lives. And how, there's a great book if you want to get into kind of past lives and reincarnation. It's called Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian L. Weiss. And it's actually I put it on our Amazon storefront as recommended books, besides our books, the Fight For Us books. But the books that we recommend that aren't authored by myself. And it could go into that a little bit. I don't know. But the big thing about it is, are they ever going to get out of here? Because there's got to be some resolution to it. We know that these monsters are bad. We know that they're stuck. We know that more and more people are coming. And why are they connected with some of the people that were there too? Like Marisol, and it's just like why did those people show up? Because it's convenient storytelling. I mean, maybe, but we'll have to see. Where it's going in season 4. Hopefully, it's awesome as well too. So. Yeah, I'm telling you, the book is called Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian L. Weiss. Weiss, I believe is how you spell his last name. And my friend let me borrow his book in college, and then I bought my own copy of it, and it really changed my life, especially for a while. And I think I'm going to reread it again because it's always good to like get back into that world and check things out and just kind of reset a little bit. Because it's always nice to have like a connection with things, and you never know. And that's why I was asking before, like, what are some of your comfort shows? Walking Dead, maybe from Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Dexter. So I don't know, like, what are some of those shows you guys like? Game of Thrones or something? But yeah, we're not. So I brought it up last time. I don't know if Tim was in here, but so I'm a Taylor Sheridan fan. I love a lot of his stuff. I don't love all his shows, especially like Lioness and stuff. I don't like that show. But I do like Yellowstone, and 1883 was good. 1923 was all right. But Sons of Anarchy, that's a good one. That's a good comfort show. So Marshals starts in March, which is good. And then what is it? Is it Meredith or something? No, not Meredith. I forget what it's called now, but it's starring. It's a Taylor Sheridan show. It's starring Michelle Pfeiffer and Kurt Russell, and it's definitely worth my Madison. That's what it was. Thank you, Tim. I knew you would know. You're my Taylor Sheridan fan as well. The Madison, and I watched a little trailer about it. And it looks good. I think it's awesome because of the things too. So let me see what it's saying, because everyone's asking me season 4 release date. It's not 2025. It says March or April right now. Season 4 is expected to be released in March or April. Filming wrapped in November 2025, and the series is set to return in the first half of 2026. So, that's what we have come. And I saw somewhere online that it was probably going to be like April, but I wouldn't be mad if it was March. I ain't mad at it there too. So it makes sense for March or April. I think a lot of shows are March or April, looking at it too. That looks to be on there as well. Yeah, Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, you got it. Landman. And, it's great to know the information if you know anything about, the Taylor Sheridan story. It's like a great uplifting thing that shows that like anybody could do it. Because if you watch Sons of Anarchy, I think it was Jeff Wallace put Sons of Anarchy as one of his shows. That's where we really saw Taylor Sheridan as an actor. And, his story is great because he didn't want to be, 15th or 16th on the call sheet or whatever he said. And that's the number you are basically of importance on that show, or at least that episode or whatever of that show. And he was never going to be the top guy. And sometimes we're not all going to be Robert Downey Jr. or Johnny Depp or Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth or Tom Cruise or any huge actors. We're going to be ourselves. And sometimes it's a supporting role. Sometimes it's behind the screen. Sometimes it's not involved with any of that stuff. But it's something that anyone can do if you start writing. Like, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have been actors for a long time, but they're getting more and more involved with behind the scenes stuff, and they have their artisans production company and all these things that are connecting because they're giving back to the people that help them, make those productions. And I think that's what we kind of need to see. When you got skin in the game and you're putting involvement into it, you kind of work a little harder for it too. You feel like something is there, especially if it's just you. If you have to make this succeed, you're going to do well on there as well, you know? And so, like, when I'm putting stuff on eBay, or if I'm making videos, or if I'm doing stuff around here, I want to do the best job possible. I want that person to have a good experience, whatever it is. And being a physical therapist, I want the person to come in and have a great time and understand what the problem is, how to get better, how to not get worse, you know, how to not make it worse. Education, motivation, inspiration, and have some fun with it too. You know, like I would want to have a good time to go see. I don't want people to come, they feel bad. Like when you go to the doctors, because you're usually not feeling well. But sometimes you have a good experience with that too, of getting better, hopefully, obviously. But seeing that person, like the dentist or whatever, doesn't have to be the worst experience of your life. They can treat you like a human being, you know, take you back early, not make you wait forever, have communication, have those things, you know? And that goes with anything, you know, as any experience, communication and connection with that person, especially in an environment like that too, So let me see. Carol said, Hell on Wheels and The Sun are oldies but goodies. So I watched a movie, again, every Saturday I go to Sam's Club, and Saturday morning, and I get a rotisserie chicken, and I get a thing of bananas, and I got what did I get? Some Red Baron, no, it was the Red Baron pizzas that were on sale. And that's all I bought. And I ripped up my chicken, put it in a container we'll have today. We had some soup last night, you know, some chicken and noodle or chicken rice soup. And we added some rice and some more chicken too, which was really good. And I always like to watch a movie. And I'd never seen the movie before, but it's called Equilibrium. And it stars Christian Bale. And I don't know if it's a 90s movie or 2000s movie. And I only watched, again, 45 minutes of it, because that's how long it takes me to rip up a chicken, taking my time and enjoying the sequence. But it was an interesting movie. It was crazy. Has anyone seen that movie, Equilibrium with Christian Bale? It's a crazy premise that people have wars and commit crimes and do all these bad things because they feel. And they were having these people go around and police these groups of people that were not obeying by what they were supposed to do. And they had what they called a sense offense. Like, you can't feel, you can't have any senses about you, you can't have any thoughts about you, you can't have anything there too. You're basically supposed to be like a robot and just do your job and do your basic stuff on there as well. But it doesn't make sense, because you have to get a spouse and procreate and have children and do all that. And it's just weird, because stuff happens and you're like, well, that kind of contradicts. You have to have some sort of feeling, and not all feelings are bad, like love and connection and empathy and sympathy and everything. It's the negative ones that are bad, and so they just suppressed all feelings. You couldn't have good or bad. It's kind of crazy. It was a crazy movie, and again, I've only seen 45 minutes of it, but it's something that it was a little different too, so. But at the end of the day, it's something that's entertaining, and, you know, I'm not going to, like, go online and bash a movie or go online and say all these dumb things about it there, too, unless something is so egregious or bad or worth watching or not worth watching. I'd rather be a supporter than a hater. I'd rather be someone that's telling you what to do, that's something good, versus, well, again, it's also, if something's bad enough, like, don't waste your time, because people have opinions and thoughts and whatever, and we have to respect them. We don't have to, but you should. That may be different than ours. And I think that's part of the problem, one of the problems, is that people have a difference of opinion, and automatically the other person is wrong. Because, like, for example, I'm not, but I'm saying, if I'm always right, then everyone else has to be wrong, unless they agree with me. And that's not the way the world is. And the good thing about it is you can agree to disagree. But, you know, it's crazy to think people get so bent out of shape now about even the smallest little things, because we're on edge. The world is on edge. And I don't know what's going to make us better. about that. I wish I did, but we all have to like hopefully take a step back and to see what's important for us. And right now, I think our priorities are a little construed about taking what other people have, where we can all have. We all don't have to. I don't have to take it all. We can share. But then you know how that gets on there too, because I've been getting up with more ideas, and I started writing again for Fight for Us 2, the second book, and I'm wrapping up chapter 2. I may finish it today or this week, or this week for sure. But I'm like coming up with ideas all the time for like new characters, a new story, and new everything on there too. And I always think about like, what if you were stuck with a person like in a zombie apocalypse? Like they covered it somewhat on The Walking Dead, but it reminds me when Rick finds Herschel at the bar in season 2, and he comes across those two guys that Rick ends up killing in the bar, and they were terrible, right? Like they were talking about like women in a derogatory way, and who knows what they would do, and be violent and commit crimes and whatever, because there's no laws anymore. There's no one to police it. You can get away with stuff and whatever, and people would be bad. If there's no consequences for your actions, there's some people that would be bad. Some people would be good, but more people would be like, oh, I can do whatever I want. And you saw that here and there at times, and it was always interesting to see that way. And I always think about how I would put that in a book, because not everybody's going to get along. And if there's not a law system that people are going to have to obey, someone is wrong, someone pisses you off and is annoying, boom, you take them out and you move on with your life. No consequences for your actions until there's the whole universal law of karma, whether you believe in it or not. It's not, not that type of discussion, but what goes around comes around, for sure, And so it makes sense to see what, that would happen. So if we treat people nicely, whether we're in a zombie apocalypse or, whatever it is, hopefully it comes back around again too. So exactly, Brian. Another one is, if you don't question anything, then you ain't thinking. Exactly. So, like when I think about that line, like you said, Tim, then when a little kid sits there and he asks, or she asks, why? And then the mom or the dad keeps answering, like, you have to go to school. Why? Because I want you to be smart. Why? Because I want you to have a great life. Why? Because I want you to have a better life than me. Why? Because I think you'll be happy and you won't have to worry and struggle anymore. Why? Because worrying and struggling sucks. Why? Because they can just keep saying why, and I don't know if they're sinking in what the answers are. That's their response. And after a while, it's like, all right, enough of this. New topic. But it's just kind of funny. It just made me think of that too. So. Mr. Cordova says, the movie I've watched so many times that I lost count is The Shawshank Redemption, as it always picks me with positivity. And that's good. That's a great one. That's a Frank Darabont movie, which was great. I've seen different parts of it. Like that's one of those movies, and Armageddon is another one of those movies that it's on. And if it's on, I'll see what part it is. Or like some of the Marvel movies, like Avengers Endgame or Avengers Infinity War or something like that. I'm like, oh, let's see what part it is. And I was watching the other day the Spider-Man Homecoming. And I love Michael Keaton because he's the bad guy in that movie, the villain. And it's an okay movie. It was a good setup movie for Spider-Man, and I have to see what's going to happen with Spider-Man this year because of I forget what the title is, but they're going to be another movie with Spider-Man and the Punisher and the Hulk and whatever in it too, and that's cool, Like I like when superheroes are coming together because it makes sense. Yeah, Jeff Wallace, it sucks what happened with Kevin Costner though. Yep, agree, Sharon. That sounds very brutal. Yeah, it stinks because Kevin Costner and Taylor Sheridan, that was a crazy time too when they were trying to make that next season of Yellowstone, and I never even saw that movie. I don't even remember what it's called. The Kevin Costner cowboy movie that it potentially could be like 4 movies or something. And he left Yellowstone for the last season. So then they're like, he is a major character. Like, how do you just do that? And shows got to do it all the time. Movies have to do it all the time, you know? And, you know, I told you I was watching Unreal. It's the WWE documentary on Netflix. And this season, they really highlight Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, who are married in real life. And they have a daughter, and they highlight that stuff, and they highlighted John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and everything's there too. And Cody, I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes because I was a fan of his dad, and you know, watching that, it's pretty cool to see that. And he seems like a really nice guy, and I believe he lives in Georgia with his family, and it's just cool. And he was coming back for a match, and he was doing this, and then he's got to leave for 6 months. I believe it was 6 months, to film Street Fighter because he's playing Guile. And if you saw the trailer for Street Fighter, he's Guile with the craziest hair ever. You know, I really have high hopes for Street Fighter because I grew up playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcade games and Super Nintendo and everything. It was just awesome, and it still is. You know, it's one of those ones that if I went back and played it now, I'd be like, takes me back to that. And I think there's something about that, like nostalgia, video games and movies and shows and anything that takes you back to like better times, simpler times. And yeah, I think Street Fighter 2 came out 38 years ago today or yesterday or right around this time. And that's crazy to think that 38 years ago. It makes me feel old. You know, that something was there when I was young, when I was a little kid, came out and was part of my childhood. And it's just cool to see that, you know, and I'm sure, you know, that's just one of many things that happen to a lot of people. But it's just a nice thing to have that, to connect with that too. And they're still making Street Fighter movies, and they're still making Mortal Kombat movies and video games and everything, even though the latest Street Fighter stuff is like crazy fast and combos, and it's a little too much. Yeah, I'd rather go back and play, you know, the 16-bit, 32-bit, 8-bit games and whatever a little bit from time to time. Even though I do like Fortnite and I have some PS5 games that I have to play, I still have to get back to playing the Spider-Man 2 game that I'll eventually get back to doing. But right now we're in a transition of working and everything, so I'm hopefully going to get my hours set going forward. So it's going to give me more time for YouTube, more time for working out and exercise, housework, house stuff, my book series, traveling, doing things and whatever. And that's to me what it's all about. You know, like, I know that it's different for everybody, but I think at some point everybody's trying to get to the point of retirement. You know, like we all want to get to the end game, but majority of people have to wait, if they get there at all, till they're 65 plus. And there was a good thing I saw. Let me see if I took a screenshot of it, because it was a great kind of quote so it says, you work 8 hours to live 4. You work 6 days to enjoy 1. You work 8 hours to eat in 15 minutes. You work 8 hours and sleep only 5. You work all year just to get a week or 2 off, which is crazy, right? You know, like, that's not a lot of time off for time off. You work all of your life to retire in old age. In the end, you only contemplate your last sighs. Over time, you realize that life is nothing but a parody of yourself as you practice your own oblivion. We have become so accustomed to material and social slavery that we no longer see the chains. Life is a short journey. Live it. I don't know who it is to give credit to, whatever, but I saw that on Facebook or Instagram or one of those two. And it was like, we all know the mindset, right? Like we all know, like, I'm working hard for this. Because like if you work 40 hours a week, that's like what you get paid for. You got to get up early, drive to work, or work from home if you're lucky, which hopefully more people are doing remote stuff. Yeah. So like 40 hours a week baseline pay to get money to pay your bills, to do all that for your education or for your, your skills, your trade, your everything on there too, your debt, whatever it's student loan or mortgage or rent, car payment, whatever it is, credit card payment, whatever your debt is. And then you get there and you do all that, and then what do, right? Hopefully you have a living thing that you want to do and travel and experience things and see your friends, see your family, create something, like create something like The Walking Dead or a movie, a show, something. And you can use YouTube as the free outlet for it. It's not even anything crazy where you could do something that starts something. And it's just like crazy to think about it as, let me see. Are you guys talking about Penguin Bloom? That was the movie that Andrew Lincoln is in with, because I see Naomi Watts and I see questions about Penguin. It's called Penguin Bloom, I believe. But and because I was talking to my dad, who's like I said, he was retired, and I was like, you got to get a project. He's like, I have enough projects. And I was like, you better keep going on these projects, with the house and the basement and the garage. And it's like you got to do stuff to keep you busy and keep you motivated and keep you going and growing and thinking about mind, body, and soul, Yeah. Mystic Rebel, it's, yeah, so, yes, is that a small Rocky figurine behind on the right, as I often listen to Rocky soundtracks on my earphones while running on the streets? Yeah, so it's right there is the Rocky thing, and it's actually, I believe it's a pencil sharpener, and I got it at the airport, the Philadelphia airport, and yeah, it's a little statue that I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, it's like every time I try to, I like the small little tchotchke things for the stuff I put up here because it just fits pretty well. I got Game of Thrones stuff and Walking Dead and Judge Dredd and Tron and there's a Predator. I better have a Predator up there. Do I? Yeah, I'm kind of blocking him. So the Predator is is in front of Wolverine, right there with E.T., and so got Groot and different things. There you can see a little Predator, but yeah, it's a different cool stuff on there and different things that pop culture stuff and Star Wars and everything else too. So yeah, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Two people, and it's crazy that they're both connected with Paramount. Right, is Sylvester Stallone and Taylor Sheridan. Two guys that are very inspirational to me, and I think should be very inspirational for everybody, just from the fact that you can do it, whether you like them or not. Sylvester Stallone was like a small, small actor, and so was Taylor Sheridan. But they started writing and creating. And you can too. And I'm not by any means a very successful person in this area compared to those guys, or really anybody on YouTube and social media. But I started with nothing. The PT channel was nothing. It was a nothing channel, and I still want to get back to training, exercising on there too, because I do believe mind, body, and soul are stuff that you have to kind of continue for the rest of your life. If you don't use it, you lose it. Right? And whatever it is, it can be small or big. I just hope it's something good for humanity and society or whatever, you know? Like, I hate to say that because people can create whatever and it can be bad, it can be harmful, you know, which, you know, and I don't recommend that by any means, you know? Protect yourself, protect your family, your loved ones. But, like, you know, you don't know, people can do crazy stuff. But I feel like if you're creating something artistic, whether it's a song or a video or artwork or whatever it is, that should be pretty safe, you know, to help people and whatever. And it's an outlet, you know, you have to have an outlet, whether it's exercising or running or whatever it is, you know. And like Mystic Rebel, I do like the Rockies. I used to love the Rocky 4 soundtrack when I was working out in my basement in New Jersey and my dad's house. I still have the same, I hate to say boombox, but it is like, it's a boombox CD player and picks up the radio and everything. And it's I don't know if I still have that. I might have sold those CDs because no one has CDs anymore, you know. But Rocky 4 soundtrack was pretty good, and I love the James Brown song. It's like super highways, coast to coast, easy to get anywhere. Like, I just love it. Like, James Brown, like, it's just it's so like crazy over the top, and the training montage and everything. And if you haven't listened to that, definitely check it out. But I'm a Pandora person where I listen to like high energy music when I work out. Some of it doesn't even have lyrics, it's just energy, and I hate to say, like, trance, techno, house, EDM, like stuff like that is the DJ stuff. And you know, I'm a music lover of all different things, and my wife loves the 90s music, and she was showing me clips of, like, back in 1998, what was the top 10 songs on TRL. Someone has that documented, and they showed you, like, The Offspring and this and that and Aaliyah or Brandy and Monica and this one and whatever, and it was like Backstreet Boys was second and NSYNC was first for the ones that she was showing me. And my wife's a huge NSYNC fan, and so it was kind of funny too. So yep, that's the song that Apollo comes out to, and then he eventually dies. And that's one of the things that Sylvester Stallone has come out in all of the Rocky franchise, and I guess even the Creed franchise now too, but that the Rocky universe, that he regrets killing Apollo. Because when you kill the character off, they're not coming back unless they do callbacks, cameos, stuff like that too. You know, like, you know, on some of what's the show, like the Bloodline, some of the characters got killed off, but they keep coming back around because they have hallucinations or flashbacks or prequel stuff or cameo stuff where they come up of previous story that connects with where they're at there too. And because never say never unless you killed a character off. But we all know, like Madison from Fear the Walking Dead, no one's gone till they're gone. We never saw the body. We never saw we never saw them die. And I don't know if The Walking Dead's ever going to get to where it was, but it's definitely something that, you know, I'm grateful for having that experience too. And so, you know, I've been getting more and more information of just different stuff online, and you know, it came out a little bit ago now that, you know, I like the movie Point Break, and if you check to see who wrote Point Break, it's not the person that actually wrote it. James Cameron came out and said that he wrote Point Break, which makes sense because I love a lot of stuff that he has done. And he just has a way about making stuff fit and everything makes sense. And just, you know, it's just a way there's where for different shows and movies. And it's pretty great, you know. And, you know, some of the stuff he's made is some of my all-time favorite, Terminator 2 and Aliens, and, you know, now Point Break that he's connected with. And, it's, you know, it's just like awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that too. I really want the 100K plaque as well. I don't know. Like, I wish I kind of started the PT channel earlier. Like, if I probably started a year earlier, maybe even 6 months earlier, I would have hopefully achieved that. Now I don't know if people are just leaving the channel and doing this, or their accounts are getting, closed or whatever. But we're losing subscribers, and maybe we get that on through as well. It's a goal of mine to have that, and maybe I'll get it one day. If not, then because I always like to, and I always said this before, in physical therapy we have goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, and I think every person should have that. And realistic goals, realistic, the top tier goals, the short-term, long-term, achievable. You can have a timeline or deadline basis on there too as well. But for here in this channel, I think that's probably one of the last goals that I want to have. I've always wanted to have a video reach 1 million views, and I didn't achieve that, not yet at least. And I've always wanted to achieve that silver play button plaque that was for 100,000 subscribers. So, but I'm at the mercy of people subscribing, and I want real people to join for real reasons and for people to enjoy that too. So maybe that'll be hopefully my next probably video series show to talk about is from, of course, Dead City, The Boys, different movies and shows like that as well too. Yeah, if you guys have any ideas for videos or topics, definitely let me know in the chat or in the stream or in the comments. I'm always open for that too. Just like I didn't even know what From was. It was a subscriber that told me about this show, and I'm glad they did because I like different shows, and I have no problem starting a show and seeing where it's at, because if I don't like it, I just stop watching. Like that's the beauty of it. You don't have to do it. And there's definitely been some shows that I was like, enough of that. I don't want to watch this anymore. Or I try to wrap it up and be like, I got to finish it. Yeah, Sim says I'm trying to do a live with another channel that does Sheridan. It's not like being on here. I like coming here every Sunday, as you know. Of course, Tim, I appreciate you guys being here, and I appreciate everyone being here, and like, it just feels like a general topic to talk about some stuff. It feels like friends getting together. I just feel like that's, a fun thing to talk about too, so. Mystic Rebel says, could you go to some locations or some dramatic scenes? Sorry, you just deleted it. But some filming locations. So yeah, they're in Georgia. So like, we got to get my wife's job set up, and because she works now full time for a job that is kind of going in transitions, and it's been really frustrating and hard for her. So I want her to get set up, and if she gets a remote job, we can kind of travel a little bit more and do a little bit more there too. And I love Georgia, so I definitely will see a lot of it there too. So yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to doing some of those scenes and recording definitely where some of The Walking Dead was filmed for sure. Yeah, in this day and age that you don't have to physically meet to be friends online. I remember the internet growing up was dial-up internet, AOL, Instant Messenger, and trying to connect with people and meet people. Myself, I was trying to meet girls. That was a great way to kind of do that, especially from all over the place. You'd meet them in the malls or whatever, but online was another place to kind of do that. And I don't know how people meet each other anymore. Hopefully it's still in person at schools and events and common interests, but hopefully online is another option too, if they're real honest people on there too, and if sometimes it's too good to be true, and it usually is, and hopefully there's more and more people in there too. So yeah, I watched Landman, Tim. It was really good. Landman setting up next season 3, and the only thing that's kind of weird about that is the title, Landman, just sounds bad, but it fits the show, obviously, because Billy Bob Thornton, Tommy, is a landman. And now they're connecting with Andy Garcia's character, and they're doing this, and it's pretty cool. I like where it's going on there. And I also did see that Taylor Sheridan wanted, so Mayor of Kingstown is going to be making a 5th, which is going to be their final season. And Taylor Sheridan did not make that decision. I believe the network made the decision that they're going to end the show on the 5th season, but he wanted to do 7 seasons because Hugh Dillon was supposedly interviewed and talked about the plan for 7 seasons, and now it's going to be done in 5. So they're going to miss out on 2 seasons of development. So I don't know how it's going to be, because it's going to be rushed, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be annoying, and it's going to be, how it is. So I don't really like that for sure, because it's going to feel like it is not fully satisfied. And I don't know, what are they, 8 episodes, 10 episodes? So if we're cutting it down, if we're going from seasons 5, 6, and 7, and they're 10 episodes each, that's 30 episodes left of development, and now we're cutting it down to a third of that, which is 10. That's going to be pretty weak, unless they can wrap it up in a way that makes sense, and usually they don't for a lot of shows. Last question from Jeff. I think you could reboot SOA and do episode discussions, and so many people watch it over and over again. New following starting as a TikTok. That's cool. I like that. I like that topic too. I like that option. I have not watched Vampire Diaries. I know some people love that as well. All right, guys and girls, I appreciate you guys taking the time for being here for this live stream. So it is February 1st, 2026, as we wrap up the stream. And next Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. I'll be back to talk about that. Obviously, who do you think's going to win? Seahawks and or Patriots, and any other shows or movies that we're watching. We will share our different topics. And definitely, if you like hockey, definitely check out ESPN. Today at 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly when puck drop is, but it is the Winter Classic here in Tampa, Florida, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Boston Bruins. Should be awesome. Thank you guys for taking your time to being here and enjoying our discussion about From, The Walking Dead, and other topics. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Keep working hard at it. No matter what it is, you can achieve it. Thanks, guys. I'll be back next Sunday, and I'll see you guys. See ya.